Hello.
All right, welcome to the next episode.
What number?
I don't know.
Okay.
22 or 23? I think it's 22. I think.
Okay. So
Good.
I think we are talking about confidence.
Confidence and then being self-conscious. So, you just had a good few days. You came back from taking a course.
Mm-hmm. It was fantastic.
Okay. What about it was fantastic?
Just everything. What we were learning was fantastic. Our teachers were fantastic.
Okay. What was the course called?
It's called Healers Academy. So it's within the Modern Mystery School. And you kind of go through steps in the process. Like it's a school. So you have basically like elementary school, like first grade, second grade, third grade, fourth grade, fifth grade. So this Healers Academy is kind of like second grade. And you can just keep going from there if you'd like to. You can stop at first grade. You can stop at second grade.
Yeah, and again, I'm kind of speaking on something I probably have less knowledge and experience on. Well, I definitely have less knowledge and experience than you on this subject, but like the whole idea of a mystery school was like, you know, you could trace it back to like the Egyptian times or even further back, right? And there are 7 secret. Yeah.
And there are 6 secret schools. Only one of them is open to the public, and that's the Modern Mystery School.
Yeah, and the idea is that there's these ancient knowledge, wisdom that they just pass down from generation to generation.
Yeah, basically these secret mystery schools, to actually be a student in the mystery schools before 1997, you had to be sought out by someone already in the school, and a lot of times the people in the mystery school knew when you were going to be born, what your name was, and they would go find you and say, okay, you're going to join the mystery, or they would tell their parents, you're going to join, your son, your daughter is going to join us when he's older or when she's older, whatever.
So is that kind of like the Dalai Lama, or?
Yes.
It is?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so his is like is it a mystery school that he's?
Yes.
It is?
Yeah, okay. It's the Tibetan mystery school.
Okay, so basically have the new Dalai Lama here. No.
No.
Okay, so anyways, now you're doing something that's like an intro to it, right?
No, I'm in it.
No, I mean like life activation.
Oh, yes, yeah. Okay, so at Healers Academy, well, basically the mystery schools, they hold truths about life in the universe and why we're here. And they used to be only shared with specific individuals that could hear it and that could hold it as well, holding the knowledge and keeping it safe throughout time. And then in 1997, it opened up to the public, and now anyone who wants to find these keys and find truth and experience it within themselves can do it willingly. And that is at Healers Academy, we learn the very first step you take in the mystery school, and it's called, the very first step you take is receiving a life activation. And the life activation is basically activating all 24 strands of DNA. We have 12 physical, 12 spiritual, and life activation is an full energy balancing in your etheric structure, and then activating the codons, which activate the DNA. And when we activate DNA, we're activating and turning on every part of you. So you are able to access every gift inside of you, and you're more able to remember why you're here, what your purpose is, and you can decipher easier. It's clearer what is on your path and what is not on your path. So that's why the life activation kind of like turns the lights on. And then from there, you can go further with the school and learn more and more and more, and it gets deeper and deeper and deeper.
So if this resonates with you, reach out to Ashley. Yeah, okay. So as far as like the topic today, we decided to talk about, well, I kind of came up with it. I don't know if she actually
I liked it. I said yes.
But it's the whole idea of like confidence and then like being self-conscious, right? So I think like a good segue would be, if you look at the stuff that you do, well, actually, like even in the like growth, self-development community, I see this a lot. It's just like a person will go from from CrossFit.
Yeah.
Well, a person will like just go from one thing to the next thing to the next thing, right? And
yeah.
And it's like what is it called, like seminar junkie or something?
Yeah.
Now, why? I'm not saying you're a seminar junkie, right? But there are probably times where you felt like
I was a seminar junkie.
Something okay.
There are times I felt
yeah, just something's not right, which is just like it's like
there's something more.
Yeah, there's just like there's like, and then it's like, okay, well, if I take this next course, then I'll actually feel like whatever is like not right will actually be right.
Yeah.
Right? Is it something along those lines?
Is what something along those lines?
Like when the motivation isn't like you're called by something, it's because you're trying to, I guess, not fill a void. It's almost like
it can be both, though.
Yeah, well, it actually in the bigger picture it is both, right?
Yeah,
sometimes like it doesn't matter like what you start. Like we've had I'm saying like a lot of people, well, definitely a significant percentage of the population when they come and start CrossFit, they think they just want to like lose fat.
Yeah.
Right, and then they ended up finding like so much more. So it's not it's not necessarily a bad thing, like why you start something, because there's actually a purpose and a place for that, right? Like that
and
feeling,
why and why you think you started something sometimes isn't really actually the reason why, because our subconscious rules our behavior, not our conscious.
So that, like, the way so the way we relate to it is that our brain is in control, right? And actually our brain interprets what's happening. Right. So I want to say it was the book The Happiness Advantage. I don't quote me on that, but they talked about like it's a book like in the positive psychology field, and they talked about hooking someone up, and they were like they were walking on the street, right? And it was like, okay, they were walking toward the street, and it was like some kind of like a warning or a yellow sign, like yellow light. So then they can either make the choice to try to run across or then just kind of wait there. And they were saying like they could see like the neurons firing, right? Like because they have them hooked up. And then when they interview or ask people afterwards, they ask them the moment they actually decided to either run across or not.
I remember this.
And like the neurons were firing way before they were consciously even aware that they were making a choice. So like
weren't even the motor, or didn't the body even move before the brain fired?
Yeah, but
or was
this has
been
like 4 years since I read the book now. But like there's just like lots of like examples of that, right? It's just that like we actually think we're consciously choosing, right? So basically, oh yeah, I chose to do this, and we're like, no, it was actually already happening, and then the illusion is that you have a choice, but you're actually, for the most part, reacting subconsciously, which is why like you hear about like the law of attraction and stuff, right? If you actually change subconsciously what's going on, the actions you take, how you perceive the world, the results you attract are all different.
Yeah.
Right. So
you can this is what I understand. You can choose not to do something.
You can choose not to do something.
That's where kind of like choice comes in. Like the subconscious could be steering you towards something, and you could consciously not do it for fear reasons or whatever.
And like, I guess a counter argument would be like, okay, if I don't really actually make decisions, I don't really have a choice, everything's already kind of going to happen, then what's the point of doing anything? Why don't I just sit there and let me just sit there and eat some spicy Cheetos.
Well, because what part of you is leading?
What part of you is what?
Leading. Because you can change the subconscious. The subconscious could lead you to things that help change your subconscious.
No, I'm turning into the devil's advocate. Yeah, but like if that's okay, so then if I can change the subconscious, then I do have a choice. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
So do I actually have a choice, or do I not have a choice? Winner. No, I was kidding. Okay. So I've heard this a long time ago, right? And I always thought it was kind of bullshit. But now, like, as we're getting into this, I'm like, oh, it's actually kind of true. So the only choice you actually really have is where you place your awareness and attention. Mm-hmm. Right? So, like, whatever happening is happening. Mm-hmm. You do, like, actually consciously have a choice on where you place your attention. And then, as you know, as we're talking about some of the energy work, it's like how you place your attention. Mm-hmm. Right? So, like, whatever's there is there.
Everything's really there.
Yeah, like too. If you had an interaction with a boss, and then, like, you feel like it didn't go well, right? And then you're just ruminating. You're thinking of all the stuff that's going wrong. Like, you can't stop the thoughts, right? You can't you can't.
Right, they're just kind of like funneling out.
Yeah, like, you can't even, like, have positive self-talk to, like, feel, but, like, it's not gonna, like, actually work. You can't rationalize it out, like, because, like, you know,
it's
emotions
not rational.
don't mean that way.
Yeah.
But, like, actually the even not the way out, but, like, the most powerful thing you can do is to actually observe that that's there without minimizing it or, like, trying to, like,
just be with it.
Positive, yeah. Or you don't have to make it worse, right? Just, like, that's actually there right now. So then simultaneously, like, you're there with it, and then there's another you that's observing it, and that's actually, like, what the awareness is. And the whole idea of, like, confidence for me is, like, what is confidence, right? Like, what does confidence actually depend on?
Are you asking me?
Yeah, what do you think?
What does confidence depend on?
Yeah, well, what's confidence to you?
So this is actually interesting. So I feel way more confident with myself and what I'm doing. Like, I can see a clear difference between before last week and to now. Even last week and now. Like, by the end of the last 2 days I was there, I started noticing, like, big shifts in me. And then yesterday and today, the way I communicate what I feel comfortable saying, it's all shifted. So I feel more confident now. So I feel like I'm just now.
So
I wasn't confident before, okay. So I don't know.
Okay, so now that you notice a difference the last few days, right? What was the difference?
A lot of it, I'm not worried about what other people are thinking.
Okay.
Because I'm very sure in what I have.
Okay, so there's like
to give.
There's like a certainty.
There's a certainty, yeah.
Okay.
And if they don't connect with it, fine.
Okay.
It's like, I used to care so much, and I'm like.
Okay, so, like, if you kind of, like, take a look, right? What's the source or the fuel for that? Like, what's sourcing that certainty or that knowing?
The first thing that comes up is just knowing who I am and being secure in who I am right now, how I'm showing up.
Okay, say a little bit more. What do you mean knowing who you are? Like, who are you?
I'm God. I'm the universe.
Yeah. Not in, like, a egotistical way.
No.
Right. Just
we're all God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like, so part of me used to feel like there's a right way to be and a wrong way to be.
Okay, so there's, like, a good or bad?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And now more, and I knew this before, or I understood this before, but I didn't know it and I didn't own it.
Yeah.
Is that being who we are is who we are. So, like, thinking, how do I explain this? Like, thinking there's a right and wrong way for me to be. Like, I have to figure out who I am. I don't need to figure out who I am or even create really who I am. I already am.
So there's almost like you have to do certain things, get certain results to be a good person.
Say certain things to be, yes, yeah.
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 Okay. And then if you look at, like, being self-conscious.
It's not trusting yourself.
Right. And then what do you try to do when you're self-conscious?
The right thing. You try to please others.
Or not be visible.
Oh yeah, or hide. Yeah, that too.
Yeah, right. So you try to basically, so it's so either you're doing stuff that's socially agreed upon, right? Or at least we think it's socially agreed upon, so that.
So then you're also not being you at all. Yeah.
Or you just hide, right? Whether it's like you physically just alienate from people, especially when you're self-conscious, or another way is just doing drugs, drinking, even honestly like
following the lead of others,
traveling a lot, going to other places where like you don't, I'm not saying it's a bad thing, right? But it's like when you're gone, like for like the 5 days that you're gone, right? Like you don't have to actually live your life. Like you're in a place where there's a little bit of like anonymity, like you get to escape from your current life, right? And like, but guess what? You have to come back. Well, guess what? You can't be drunk all the time. I mean, you can, but is that long term like outcome you want? Where you can't keep being on drugs all the time, right? There's this at a certain point, like you have to get like, none of those mechanisms are actually sustainable, right? You have to come back, or if you think about it. I don't want to use the word situational, but it's basically dependent upon something. Okay, so like for me, I could classify it, at least this is the way I relate to confidence, is I could classify it as, okay, it's dependent on something where, okay, if I'm really good at CrossFit, or if I'm really good at certain things, so there's some kind of proficiency, then I can be confident. And then I can be confident, right? But like, as you know, like nothing lasts forever. You're not gonna always be fit. You're not always gonna be proficient or knowledgeable or capable at everything. And there's gonna be times when you're not.
You don't feel confident.
So your confidence is based on that, right? It seems very strong. It seems very, very strong situationally, when it's actually also really, really fragile and weak.
Right.
Right. Or like another one is like a hot girl at a club. She's a hot girl at a club. All the guys want her, or like think she's this like goddess, right? And other girls like, man, like she's so hot, like, and it's just like that, like, and it's almost like she's so confident in the moment.
Yeah.
You take away that situation, right?
No.
Or
I have felt that way actually.
What?
I've like gone out with a friend or something, and they're like, every guy is like
looking at you.
Yeah, it's like a magnet. They're like,
look at that.
And I'm so confident,
Right? And you get just like, you're kind of just chilling, whatever. Like,
I'm like,
looking.
This feels great. Like, why don't I feel this way all the time? And then that night's over, and
right. So then you could actually see it, right? So then like you have, again, guys do this in like different ways, right? We're just talking about women, but like then like they'll actually do stuff to get attention, or to kind of get the little tease going, and it's because it actually gets a hit where you actually get confidence, right? But your looks will change, right? We're human beings, and also like you're not always like in an environment where that's the case, or where like the looks thing matters, so that falls apart. Or another one, for example, is that like even like situationally, like for example, I own a gym, right? So in my gym, it's easy for me to be confident because I know everyone. I like signing them up with friends, whatever.
Yeah.
Like,
you've been doing it for a while.
Yeah, I've been doing it for a while. So like, when I walk in, I already know a lot of people. It's situationally, it's very easy for me to be confident.
Yeah.
Right. Now, if I actually think, okay, well, I'm a confident person, right? And then let's just say I travel, I go to Denver and I walk into the gym there because I'm dropping in, right? The situation has changed. So whatever I have relied on doesn't work anymore, right? So like so on one hand, confidence, like for a lot of people, is dependent on something, and they feel like they constantly have to upkeep that, right? And it's almost like this fear where like if that thing goes away, and they're visible and exposed for how vulnerable and fragile they are, like it's just like the worst, and like literally like it feels like. It feels like your existence would just like wither away and die. Like if like your identity is that you're confident, and then you're exposed, right? And you can see like a lot of resistance to that.
Yeah.
Now the next one is actually, I think, what you're talking about. Then there's a confidence where you surrender.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So when you surrender, like, I will never be enough for what I'm made for, right? There could be situational things that come up, right? But right now, I just feel blah. Right now, I feel vulnerable, being visible.
Yeah, something that came up for me when you were talking about confidence being dependent on something, and I was like, what is a strong, I guess, like, pillar that confidence can be dependent on that's like stronger, you know, like put your and being confident. The thought that came up was being confident that you're always supported, and that's also what I mean by, like, I am God, so there's this one, and we're all threads off of that. Yeah. So I'm connected to that, and I'm always supported by that.
Yeah, and I would actually say we're both, like, spiritual. Like, we believe in, like, spirituality, but we're not necessarily religious.
Correct.
Right. So like, when it's like God, it doesn't have to be.
You can put any word in it.
Christian or like Catholic. It literally.
Yeah.
But it is like. But do people, like, do Christians actually experience God? Like, a lot of them definitely do, because it's literally like a surrender, or like a humility or humbling, where like, I'm not enough. Not to put yourself down, but really just get like.
You by your just human egos. Yeah, of course you're not enough, because that's not all you are.
Yeah.
And I was actually talking to someone today about the Christian view of God. Like, it's very much like, that's not what I'm saying at all, because the Christian view of God is generally God is separate from me. God is something else. God will help me, but God is not within me.
Yeah. And like when you when you really surrender, like, you actually get like it's all one.
Yeah.
God is just this like divine presence that, like, you are a part of, and it's like and then you can still observe it. It's just like duality. I don't even know how else to really describe it verbally.
Yeah.
Yeah, and here's where, like, getting, like, things, you know, like accomplishing all come in. Logically, right? You guys might get, like, what I'm saying. But there's something to be said about the experience of actually mastering or really achieving something, like, in a certain way, or like a certain category, to a level of mastery, where you're like, wow, like I always dream, like, if I got to, like, this level,
I would be happy.
I would be happy. I'd be confident, right? Like so, like, you know, like Donnie always says, like, the first tragedy is never getting what you want, and the second tragedy is getting exactly what you want. And not that it's a bad thing, but like once you actually reach that level, then you get, it didn't work.
Yeah.
You know, it didn't, like, it's awesome.
So you got what you wanted, but you don't feel the way you were hoping to feel.
Right, and then, like, so once you actually reach a level of mastery, and, you know, usually it takes time, right? But, like, I think it's possible for people that are younger to reach that too, right? Like, I can at least say it for this, right? Like, getting X percentage body fat on your body will not get you what you think you want, right? It just won't.
No, yeah.
It won't. Or, like, being a girl at a club that's like a magnet for all the other guys.
Gets you what you want for, like, a minute.
You're like, oh wow, this is awesome, and then it's just like, wow, like, it really didn't work.
It's very transient.
Right.
Yeah. Is that the right word? I don't know.
But you know, it's not me, but, like, I'm gonna assume anyone who does any kind of drugs is like, it didn't work.
Doesn't last.
Like, work long term, right? And like, but really achieving. So, like, this is where, like, achievement actually really does matter. Actually, like, really putting in, like, the heart, like, your heart and soul into something and achieving, then to actually realize, like, it didn't actually work, really sets you up and opens you up to surrender, and feel like humility. And then when you surrender, and then you have the ability to just be aware and acknowledge whatever is there in the moment, it's a different kind of confidence. You know, it's like you could be vulnerable and visible. You can actually feel like everything wants to resist, but you're still able to just, like, stand there and surrender anyways. And it's almost like, and you're fueled by something way stronger. And there's a knowing and a trust that it'll all just work out somehow. You know, like, just, for the lack of a better word, you give yourself to God.
Yeah, and then as you surrender, you are able to, that higher part of you is able to walk forward versus you like being, because like if you're upset about something or focusing a lot on something and being like getting frustrated with something, you kind of like hold yourself still. And by surrendering, this higher part of you can just like guide you forward.
Yeah, and I would even say this, you know, for most people that probably know me, do you think I'm confident?
Yes, but I have seen situations where you haven't felt confident. Right, but generally like,
around
like,
you, it's like I seem like I'm confident, right? But like,
you're confident around me generally, yeah.
So but like my effect, one, on myself and other people, when the confidence is dependent on something, versus like when it's surrendering, the amount of effect that I can have on people, it's not even like comparable.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like one is still like this. It's very like, you know, there's like a strong identity that, you know, like there's just stuff that I'm good at compared to other people.
Yeah.
Right? It doesn't mean they necessarily feel bad, but then when I can surrender, sometimes like the smartest shit will come out of my mouth.
Yeah.
Some of the stuff I do.
Yeah.
Just like the way I can listen, some of the ideas that I come up with.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's very, very clear that I didn't actually think of it. It kind of just came up. Or actually a lot of times, like, it's like someone else will like innocuously just bring up something and it would like trigger something. And it was really like just like an inspiration for someone else who didn't even realize that they were actually supplying the idea. Right? It's very, very serendipitous when you have humility and surrender.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know, that's about all I have to say about that, right? It's like, just like confidence, just to notice, right? Like, that actually is a huge driving factor in almost everything we do. Like, consumerism is built on, hey, someone feels like, you know, there's a lack somewhere, and then they get that next pair of Fleo shorts, or, next shoes, or like that
the
outfit.
Short high,
or they get the car, right?
Temporary high.
If I get that $100,000 car, right? So there's always like the next thing, the next carrot. It's built on, you know, dangling the carrot that you need that for confidence, right? And that's just one aspect.
Mm-hmm.
And like what I'm actually saying is, you know what? I'm not even saying it's a bad thing to get that car, right? Like, because sometimes you need to actually go through that experience.
Mm-hmm.
To really like you need to go through the experience to get the experience.
Yeah, and then kind of touching on that and going back to, what was it, session junkie you said, or program junkie?
Seminar junkie.
Yeah. Part of that as well is like, it's not really having the idea of like, I'm going to take this seminar and everything, I'll be confident, I'll be this, I'll be that, like all of my, everything that I want will come right there at that time. Everything emotionally, physically, like it'll all be resolved with just this one seminar, is something that you really learn is not true. And what I think many of us have all heard is it's the journey, not the destination, but the process of like getting yourself ready to go to the seminar, like paying for it, finding travel, taking your time and energy to go to the seminar, learning what you learn in the seminar. That's all in the process and in the path of you walking forward to reaching what you actually want, and then also it's also in the process to you actually discovering what it is you actually want, because you might think you want one thing and realize, okay, obviously that's not what I wanted because I don't feel the way I want to feel. And then through the process of that, like you mentioned in one of our videos before, like you really just kind of have to like go for something and try to be perfect in something and like really work towards something to realize that.
Yeah, like you're like and this is where people fall short. Like, not fall short, but like I see this all the time when I go to a seminar or like self-development. People are like, oh, I just feel like one with God. I feel awake. Like, and it's like, okay, if that's the case, you don't really need a body anymore. and life is already good. What's the point of doing anything?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like part of like this like game of life is there's you know in the you get there, like you actually get like there's something you really want to see in the world, right? And like and then there's also like this constant dance and battle between like, you know, you experience different kinds of pain, just anything that obscures you from experiencing the magic of the moment. So there could be physical pain, spiritual pain, more like emotional, right? It doesn't have to be like just you getting punched in the face, right? Mm-hmm. And pain is never ending, right? There's always going to be pain, mm-hmm. but the suffering is optional, and right. the suffering ends when you can actually just be with, acknowledge, and actually just observe whatever is there without needing to resist it. And you can actually be in pain and simultaneously actually experience like some of the most wonderful gifts in the world, like learn the biggest lessons, and almost like and be like
surrendering to the pain.
Yeah, like actually have like gratitude, like wow, like thank you so much for teaching me this lesson.
Yeah, the pain is like a blinker saying, hey, pay attention to this.
Yeah, and like one of like personal in my experience, one of the greatest like teachers for confidence in the way I'm talking about is when you start achieving stuff that by society standards is at a very high level, mm-hmm. and then it's like, wow, like I got what I thought I wanted, and then it was cool, it was nice, it was cool, it was actually awesome, and it didn't actually give me what I thought I wanted, mm-hmm. right? And like I can tell you right now, right, people thinking you're capable, your physique being a certain way, your body fat being a certain way, you having a business, making it like, you know, like things that I've actually done. I'm not saying it's the best, right? There's obviously people doing everything I'm doing at a higher level, but all those things that people are like, you know, like it takes me aback, because sometimes like I catch up with people that were in the Air Force with me, right? They're like, you're like living my dream life, right? And I'm like, and it's just like, cause you know, like for them, right? They're like, oh man, like he owns his business, he does whatever he wants, just takes naps and like works out, tells people what to do, and like takes Instagram videos, right? But it's like, but it just doesn't actually get you what you think it wanted.
Yeah.
Right? And you have to actually do it
to realize it's not what you wanted.
Realize like it doesn't, and it's cool. It's actually awesome. It's such a valuable lesson, you know. So confidence, mm-hmm. you know, it's actually when you really, really surrender, that confidence of knowing and surrendering to something way bigger. And it's, you know, I never thought I would have said this like 10 years ago, where like you actually surrender to God or whatever divine presence is out there is what like real confidence is, mm-hmm. you know? So yeah.
Yeah, because by doing that, you get so much support and you realize you have so much support, so.
Yeah, like whatever's out there is more than enough to guide you. Like you don't need to figure it out. You don't need to do it all. You just need to surrender, and actually like whatever needs to come up comes up, and you can just follow it. It's like the coolest thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Who's nominating the song? You or me?
I have no idea. You. I think I did the last one.
Okay. The song that I nominate is Sugar. Have I nominated that?
No.
Okay, Sugar by Maroon 5.
Oh, I know this song.
If you have never seen the music video, you can just put it on YouTube. Highly recommend you look it up. That is my favorite music video of all time. Just an awesome music video, and that actually made me like the song. I've heard the song before, so yeah, it's okay. But actually, after seeing the music video, every time I hear the song, I think of the music video, and that's probably why I like it so much.
Sweet.
Okay.
Sugar.
Yeah.
Ciao.
Bye. Deep in your love.
I want that sugar sweet. Don't let nobody touch it unless that somebody's me. I gotta be a man.